Okay, welcome back. So we'll go one step further to these instructions. We'll find the value of x and we'll plot it on the number line, and we'll take it that we're dealing with all numbers. So if you're not told, always take it. You're dealing with the reals, which is all numbers, continuous. Okay. So let's just do the top three. So, question A. Okay, yeah, now this is facing in the wrong direction. Or we'll deal with that at the end. Could deal with it up front, but sometimes you don't know what way between, sometimes with brackets and negatives and that, and loads of terms that have to be simplified on both sides. You're not really sure what way it's gonna need to go at the end. So it's only at the end, once we've x isolated, we'll worry about trying to make it go that way. Okay, so we look at this and we see that 4 is the first term that we need to address. Okay, because we're try to isolate 3x. Then we'll isolate x. So in terms of rules, in this particular case, we're already simplified left equals a number. So isolate, there's only one x term. So if there's only one x term, isolate it. Isolate the x term. So we'll isolate it by getting rid of the 4. Okay, so you're going to do change side, change sign. That's that transformation we spoke about, which turns it into -4. You get 3x is larger or equal to 12. Dividing by a positive is fine. The inequality stays the same direction, I mean. Our inequality is facing in the wrong direction. Literally, now there's an interesting little idea here that this point is touching the 4. So when you bring the 4 over, remember your point here is touching the 4. If for any reason you're kind of going direction blind on that, excuse me. Okay, and that looks like this with a 4 here. What am I doing? X is larger than 4. My mistake. I want the end, and then the x runs that way. Okay. Next we'll do this one. Okay, isolate the x term. Isolate this term. Okay, -7 changes side and changes sign. You can't change side. A term cannot move sides. An addition subtraction cannot jump across the inequality without changing sides, changing signs. We might sometimes abbreviate that like this. Change CS. Do you see where this comes from? Change side, change sign. CS. Simplify. Divide by +2. I'm going to really emphasize the fact that it's positive. Okay. Go to your number line. Put down the number first. And very much, sorry, my mistake. We're not lined up. And so this is an important step. It's an important landmark. It's an important landmark because you can see even I'm kind of stumbling past and making a mistake if I don't take great care. So this is one of the places we really need to focus on the rule. Is your inequality going in the right direction? The same direction as the number line. Okay? We know in first year and second year we study the fact that something like minus 10 is less than 2, even though it's got a greater magnitude. Okay? Left is less, right is greater. So we want our greater than or equals to signs always to go that direction. So take a sheet of paper and draw a whole pile of them in that direction. That's what we like. Okay, we like that. We do not like this. They're bad. Okay, so this thing has to be flipped over with the 15/2 on the left. Remember that point there, just make sure that corner there faces him and the X going that way. Okay, put down the end points first before you worry about where X is, because otherwise you can go in the wrong direction. Put down the end point, look at the strictness or lack of. It's strict in this case. Color in bold in your number line and say what the name of the variable is for the number line. Okay, lots to it. And guys, we can't afford to come back to topics, so I'm going to be particularly strict about homework. Has to be done. Okay, now we're going to have a bit of a conversation about this one. So we have a choice, distribute in the half or multiply the 2 up by the 10. Either will work. In fact, distributing in the half is better because it brings the numbers down smaller, but there's very little in it. But it does distribute in nicely, so we will get 3x plus 4. That's multiplying half by this and by this. That's distribution of a half is less than or equal to 10. Now the half does not go into the 10, it only goes into the bracket. Okay, now alternatively we could have had 6x plus 8 is less than or equal to 20. We could have taken that 2 and multiplied it by 10. That would also be correct. Okay, now in this yellow case here we have the term, the x term is 3x, so move the 4. Change side, change sign. Start saying that to yourself. Say it when you're doing it. Change side, change sign. Did you change the sign? Simplify. And divide by positive x, by positive 3. By the way, you can never divide by a variable in inequalities if you don't know what, because you won't know the sign of the variable and you won't know whether you should flip it or not. Okay, are we facing in the right direction? So just before you go to number line, ask yourself, is my direction right? Just before we push on with that, let's run with the pink one here. Just to convince you this is the same thing. You would have got 6x is less than or equal to 20. Take away 8, change side, change sign with the 8. You would have got 6x is less than or equal to 12. You would have got x is less than or equal to 2. Same result. We're happy with the direction. Okay, draw your number line. Draw your end point of 2. Tick your end point of 2. Decide if it's included or not. Okay, so hollow or blob. Now watch here, x is on the left. So end point no matter what side it's on, and then look for your x, and sure my x is on the left. Okay, moving on to k. Now, you could distribute, but it's much better to divide by the 3, only because we can see that 3 divides into 6. The other way will work too. You'll get the same answer with distribution of multiplication. Now, where's our x term? There. So we keep the x term and we change sides, change sign with that. Okay. So we can see we're heading into fraction territory with the endpoint, but that's okay. Dividing by +2 is allowed without a change sign. Okay, go to your number line, draw the end point, mark it, decide if it's a hollow or a blob. It's a hollow. Look that the x is to the left. And an arrow. X. Okay, no other number matters on the number line except that one. Every number on the number line divides it into 2 halves. Both ends go on forever. Okay. Just for giggles, I'll very quickly do the other way with the distribution. That would need to be simplified with 3 into both, and it's the same result. But we prefer this one, because you're going further away from the answer and creating more work here. So when you have a choice of multiplication or division, and you always do, ask yourself, does it divide in evenly? And if it does, then go for it. Okay, we'll go for this one. So we're going to go for a quarter, 8x minus 12 larger than 1. Okay. Do we want to distribute the number a quarter in? Then again, does it go in evenly? It does. If it does go in evenly, put it in, because it's making all our numbers smaller. If it doesn't go in evenly, focus on this 4 and bring the 4 up, because the opposite to dividing by 4 is multiplying by 4. But that is not, the green option is not the option here. It's not the best option here, because the best option is what's a quarter of 8x. Okay, now just take out those 2 brackets there, because they're not actually helpful at all. But I will take this step by step. You're distributing in the 4 to 1 and the 1, but that's not important because it doesn't change anything. So that's what it looks like after distribution, and you can drop the bracket. Okay, or most of us will go straight to this. Okay, now we're onto plain sailing here. We're looking at a x term that needs to be isolated. What are we doing with the -3? Change side, change sign. Now you can drop this middle step and just go ahead and add it if you like. Now we're ready to divide by 2. Now there's 2 things you should see here. Now one of the reasons I get annoyed with rules are basically, in terms of putting the rules in order, there's often cases where commutativity is occurring, meaning it doesn't matter what comes first. Like here, we could be flipping the whole thing around, or we could be dividing by 2. But I have said, as a general rule, we'll only flip around at the very end when we go to number line. So we're going to divide by 2. So the order is often debatable for rules. So divide by 2, which can physically look like that 2 is going down. Now, when you're going down below a integer, it's weird because you're creating a fraction. You're saying that 2 is going to head down there. Now, most of us would have automatically just write that with calculate in our heads. And you certainly don't need to put in all the steps. Probably in this question, they probably won't give you full marks for just doing it all in your head. Okay, even though some of us could train ourselves to do it all in our head, it just would be arguable, and they do need to see this. Okay, coming towards the end now, you're going, is that lined up the right way? No, we want our inequalities opening this way. Okay, so we need to flip the inequality. Okay, if you're moving the x and you're going, what will I do here? You're going, okay, I need those 2, and you're my x. And now we're ready. Go with a number line, go with a tick, label it with a number, look for the strictness or lack of. It's strict, it's hollow, x goes that way. Where have we got it all now? Okay, we'll do C here, 5x plus 7 less than 32. And then we'll do 2 onto 5x minus 4 less than 27. And then we'll do 9x plus 3 larger than 7x plus 27. Try and remember that. 9x plus 3 greater than 7x plus 27. 9x plus 3 greater than 7x plus 27. Okay, so this one, plain sailing, change side. Now these are the rules, okay, but I just want to kind of fluidly mention them. Change sign on the 7. Why the 7? You understand why, because this pink term here is the variable term. Build your vocabulary. You must build your vocabulary. This is the variable term. I hope you know terms have pluses, minuses, and equals and inequalities between them. They don't have multiplication and powers between them. Okay, 5x is less than 32 takes 7. 5x is less than 25. Dividing by positive 5, x is less than 5. Okay, going to our number line, we're happy with the direction. Going to our number line, making the end point of 5. Okay, thinking about its strictness, it's a hollow. Okay, and filling in your x's. Next question. 2 does not go into 27. Therefore, I'm distributing. But my first, and there's a rule for you, divide before you multiply if you can. If it's nice, divide before you multiply. When you can consider. Now, because you're in an inequality, and an inequality is like an equation, you always have the choice: divide on the side you're at, multiply at the side you're at, or divide over to the other side. That's a big thing to think about. But we're not interested in turning 27 into 27 over 2. So we have 10x with the first distribution. I'll be doing lots of work on distribution later for those who are stuck on that. But it's the distribution of multiplication over subtraction. Okay, so some of you are going to really have to focus on that here now. Term -8, change side, change sign. It's changing sign to plus. Adding them carefully. Dividing by 10. Now you could, if you want to be really cool, divide by 5 first. And then divide by 2. But either way, that's what 35 over 10 would have ended up looking like. Number first. It doesn't matter if the number is on the left or the right. Let's go look for our number side of our inequality. Okay, that's where things are going to start happening. If they've given you a number line, try to find 7 over 2. If not, just make 7 over 2 wherever you want. Do, if you, when you're doing it though, kind of think, you know, bias yourself to the side that it's at. Okay, it's strict. Strict is a hollow, I'm exaggerating it there. By the way, there's no wrong size, and make it easy for the examiner to see. Okay, I was saying to some of you, we're making hollows like this, and it's very hard with someone with bad eyesight to tell the difference between hollow or solid end points. Don't forget to label it. Okay. Now we have two simplified linear expressions, but there isn't a constant on one of the sides. So we're not only changing side, changing sign with number terms, we're changing side, changing signs with x terms. And that brings an extra layer of complication into it, because you want to move the lesser one, okay, so that you don't end up with a negative x. I'll show you what I mean in an extra question in a minute. So this is the lesser of the two x terms, because it's 7 is less than 9. So we're going to move it that way. We're going to change side, change sign. It's going to transform itself in terms of its sign. Really, while we're at it, we know the 3 is going to have to go as well. We're used to moving the number, the constant that way at this stage. Okay, so we should do both at the one time. I'll leave the simplification until later for clarity at this point. But over time, we'll start doing the calculations when they're so simple at the same in one step. Okay, that will be 2x. This will be 24. Divide by 2. There you go. I did something there. I did my simplification. Oh, so bad though. Sorry about that. But that's okay. And go for the number bit first. So there's a very important rule. when you're plotting. Okay, first thing to do is number tick. Then this or this, then this with the arrow, depending on what way. Or Y or T or A or B or label, whatever. Okay, so tick with a 12, hollow, solid, arrow, if it's not a sandwich, an X. Okay, I said I'd throw in an extra question. So this time we're going to go 2x minus 13 is strictly larger than 7x plus 12. Okay, so focus on your two x terms and think, I'm going to move the lesser. That's the lesser. So I'm moving him. Indicate you're about to move him. That immediately starts a chain reaction, moving the constant the other way. Okay, so over on our right now we have our 7x subtract 2x. Okay, and on our left we have minus 13 minus 12. Now students might ask, where do I put the minus 12? Do I put it before or after? Well, it's commutative, subtraction is commutative, addition is commutative, so it doesn't matter. Simplify. You can simplify left to right, because we've designed this so it's a positive 5, so we don't have any of this messing with this thing switching around. Okay, so you have minus 25 over 5 is larger or equal to x. Minus 5 is larger or equal to x. Now before we go plotting, before we go to this with a tick, we've got to recognize this is wrong direction. Okay, so it's in the wrong direction, so we'll bring the minus 5 over here. Just make sure that if you find visual thinking difficult, just make sure you've got that open jaw facing the minus 5. Okay, tick on the minus 5. Think about the strictness of the inequality. The x is going that way. That's it for now. That's a long video for you. See you in the next one.